Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Shutterfly. If you're like us, you take a lot of pictures because you have a camera right in your hand all the time. How would you not take a lot of pictures? And we're taking all these pictures, more than we've ever taken in the history of the world.
What are you going to do with them all?
That's the thing. You used to get a solid picture, and then you'd look through them, and you could enjoy them. Now they're like back on your camera roll. You can't even find them. You don't want that. That's why the cool thing you need to do, and what I did, and I think it's pretty cool, is create a Shutterfly photo book.
Oh.
What I did, and you're going to enjoy this, Jimmy, because I haven't showed this to you yet, but took all of our pictures from being on tour this year.
Oh.
All live show pictures, us backstage, us on stage, doing all that stuff, and like some of the venues and things, and made a little photo book out of that. Also, they have free 24-hour designer service as well. With their 24-hour designer service, a professional designer is going to lay out the book for you for free in just a day. Make something that means something with Shutterfly. Enjoy 40% off orders over $29 with promo code SMALLTOWN. See site for promotional details.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back.
Do it.
That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there.
Sure,
Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here, based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
This week, we check out the town of Anniston, Alabama, where two men acted on their worst instincts and sent a wave of fear through the entire area. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Small Town Murder. Yay, Jimmy, so excited for murder. Yay. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmy Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us. We're pumped. We're excited. We hope you are just as excited for this week's insanity as we are. Just have to thank everyone again. Guys, your iTunes reviews this week, monstrous.
Fucking bananas.
Monstrous. Thank you so much.
You
really,
come
guys.
Through.
You come through for us, and it helps us so much. We can't even begin to explain how much it helps us business-wise.
We say it every week, but we're not playing.
It's not. It's our life's blood. It really is, as far as that goes, as far as how they track your popularity or whatever the hell it is. But thank you guys so much.
That algorithm sucks.
It does. Keep at it, guys. If you haven't done it yet, please get on iTunes. Give us 5 stars. You can say anything you want. Yeah. Anything at all. Say, hats keep your head warm. We'll go, they do. That's
James
fine.
just has a big E on it.
It's fine. That's good. It does right now. So just if you do that, it helps. We're the two most appreciative people in the world for any dollar we get. So thank you so much for anybody who has done that. We're going to have a list of shout-outs later. Speaking of dollars, if you feel the need If you feel the need, the iTunes review isn't enough for you. Yeah. You're like, I got to do more. Yeah. I love these podcasts. They help me get through my day.
Got to give them the reach around.
I got to give a little extra. Then you can get on patreon.com/crimeinsports, which is our other podcast, which you should be listening to. You don't have to like sports whatsoever. It's more about true crime. Also listen to P.S. I Hate This Movie, one I do with my girlfriend Sarah, who's very funny about romantic comedy movies, and we make fun of them. It's very good stuff. But get on there. Please, you can donate on there. If you don't want to do that, you want to do a one-time donation, you can go to PayPal. Our PayPal is crimeinsports@gmail.com. You can drop a donation there. Every dime we get is from the heart, as appreciated as it could be.
You can't even understate that. The amount of humility that it makes me experience is fucking mind-boggling.
It is. We're just thank you. That's it. That's all. We can't thank you guys enough, and keep it coming. You're keeping us going. So thank you.
You guys are the locomotive on this.
I was going to say you're shoveling coal into the engine here.
I love it. We got train references in this fucking
let's do train
small
stuff.
Town
train stuff now before. Small town train references. There's always trains involved in these small towns. They're very big with the trains. Now, before we get started, we do have to give our disclaimer that we give every week. This is a comedy podcast. Facts are real. Research is real. Stories are real. Everything is real. But it's a comedy podcast. We're stand-up comedians, so we make jokes. We never make jokes at the expense of the victims or the victims' families. We're not assholes. That's not what we do. We're
assholes. We're not scumbags.
Assholes, but we're not scumbags, like we've said. Like we've said this before, and it's true. We're not scumbags. We're not going to make fun of these people. It comes at the expense of small towns, which we're all from small towns. And, they all deserve to be made fun of.
Fuck yeah.
And, of course, bumbling police forces and murderers. We make fun of murderers because they're murderers. Fuck them. They should be made fun of.
They're the assholes.
That's right. If nothing, at the very least, they should be mocked. Yeah. Let's just say that.
At minimum.
So without further ado, Jimmy, what do you say?
All right.
Let's dive in head first.
Yeah.
Head first down to Anniston, Alabama.
Okay.
Ooh, we're going down south this week.
Entirely different area of the country.
We're going down south. We're going to piss off people with a different accent this week because the South is, I got to say, the one place out of everywhere that gets the most angry if you say anything about them. They get super pissed off about it. Minnesota gets upset about pronunciations. Yeah. Everything is a long I. Everything is I. It's not eh. So a Dinah is a Dinah. Just Lino Lakes. Just get that. Other people get a little whatever, but the South, they get very upset.
Holy shit.
No reason to get upset.
Right.
Sorry. We're not picking on the South. We make fun of everywhere. We've made fun of England, for Christ's sake. It's not about you. Relax.
We didn't necessarily call Seattle, Washington fucking racist.
No.
Like we will probably in the South somewhere.
Well, there's some stuff in here.
Seattle didn't fight for slavery.
No, but they're all looking for Bigfoot, so we made fun of them for that. Yeah. And we made fun of Illinois for their sundown town. But we're in Alabama, guys. It's in the northeast part of the state, over by Georgia. It is in Calhoun County, which sounds like a county in Alabama.
Yeah.
If you said name 5 counties in Alabama, I didn't know any, and I had to make some up off the top of my head. I think Calhoun would come out of my mouth. Honestly, I'd be like, Calhoun? Like, you're right. Holy shit, I did it. Wow, Johnson? Is Johnson one?
I guarantee there is.
There's got to be. It's about an hour to Birmingham, Alabama, and about 2 hours over. It's 2 hours west of Atlanta, also Atlanta, Georgia. So it's pretty much middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's in the middle, sitting out there.
It's in between where people want to be.
Pretty much. It's sitting in the middle there, just kind of hanging out by itself. It's a little bit bigger of a small town. We'll get into the population, but it's so rural in itself. It's not like it's a tributary or a small, a suburb of another town. It's just that's all there is out there.
It's so weird out there too in the sticks like that. When they say in the sticks, they're not playing. There's trees everywhere, and it's just so sticky and gross.
It is very pretty to look at.
It's gorgeous to look at.
It's nice in the spring,
right?
In the fall.
Until you think about all the shit that went down there.
Not so nice in the summer, and then let's not bring memories or past indiscretions into this.
God forbid we discuss the past.
Oh, we're looking at
the South is like a girlfriend. It's like
you don't bring it up.
You don't bring up the past.
Hey, that's a beautiful building. Well, you know what that building was used for in the 1860s? I don't want to know. Yeah. Don't tell me.
Remember when you fucked that girl?
No, just I like the brickwork. That's all I want to say, and I want to move on. So we are going to zip code 36201, area code 256. It is it's a large town in land area.
Yeah.
It's 45.7 square miles.
Oh.
So that is a huge, in terms of area.
It's a lot of land.
Yeah, it's a lot of land. It's mostly trees.
If you said that was a fire, that much land.
That's a huge land.
That's a
big
ridiculous fire.
It's a big, it really is. Yeah. It is the county seat of Calhoun County.
Oh.
The city website proclaims it Anniston, quote, the model city.
Oh.
So it was very well planned, this city. They make a big deal out of how well it was planned, which I don't know. They're very proud of their planning.
They were the ones that didn't have slavery.
Well, they actually didn't.
Really?
This town,
See,
no,
that's
because
what
it
is.
wasn't populated yet.
Oh, okay.
The town was incorporated in 1883. Now, before that, the area really wasn't populated. Like when the Civil War started, nobody lived there.
Really?
So there really wasn't any slavery because it was just trees. Trees can't have slaves, I don't think.
No.
I mean that's what makes them nice.
Yeah, they are slaves.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they make our oxygen, asshole. All right. So it was the surrounding area. It was settled earlier, but it just wasn't that big. It really didn't get booming until the Civil War because they found the mineral resources because there's iron down there.
Gotcha.
So they dug that right up. The Confederate States of America, as they were called, the rebels, the secessionists, operated operated a big iron furnace down there, which is like pretty much right where downtown Anniston is now.
Okay.
And then the Union cavalry came in and destroyed it in 1865. And so they started making cast iron for sewer systems. That was their industrial output base. That's what they wanted to do.
They made pipes.
They made pipes. They made all sorts of shit like that. Yeah, all sorts of anything out of iron. They were into it. They were going to do it. Now, the messed up part is the Union troops who destroyed this is a thing this happens in war. Union troops that destroyed the furnace, they hanged the wrong guy. They hanged a local farmer. There was like 5 people in the whole area.
And he had nothing to do with it.
No, they just it was a Confederate soldier that was attacking a Union guy for trying to get it, for trying to get at the furnace. And they didn't know who it was, and so this poor guy's farm was nearby. So they just said it must have been him.
Wow!
So they hanged the guy. It was kind of a big, it was kind of a big thing. Back they were pissed off.
Yeah, but
the 5 people in town were not happy with this.
You don't get to do that.
No, you can't just do that. You can't just hang people.
Did they find out who did it?
It was just a soldier, just some Confederate soldier that was doing his duty and ran off, and whatever. He was just trying to fight off the ironworks and keep people away from the furnace. And they said, "Well, it must have been that guy."
Yeah.
Like, wow, okay. I would think if you have 5 farmers and then hundreds and hundreds and thousands of troops,
right?
I would blame the troops for attacking the military install first. I'd be like, it's probably one of the troops.
Right.
So anybody see him with like a hoe in his hand or any farm equipment? No, then it was probably a troop. I'm going to go with troop on that one. Let's just say he had a musket. Yeah, probably one of ours. We're one of them.
Did he smell like cow shit?
Yeah,
no, it was probably
one of
soldier.
them. They smell like cow shit too.
Yeah,
Never mind.
Right.
We all smell like cow shit. We're in the middle of nowhere.
It's the 1700s.
It's the 1700s or 1800s.
1800s, right.
In 1872, the Woodstock Iron Company comes into town. It's all organized. They rebuilt the big furnace. This furnace is something, boy.
Wow.
They rebuilt the furnace on a larger scale.
Wow.
And they also started planning. They keep talking about planning. They started planning a community. It was called Woodstock originally after the Iron Company.
Yeah.
And it was renamed Anniestown for the wife of the railroad president. Her name was Annie Scott Taylor, and it was changed to Anniston, obviously. And then when it was chartered in 1873, that was the name. Anniston, we're going after this chick. Hey, your wife, she's kind of good. I think we're going to name the town after her.
We're all going to live inside her.
We're all going to climb right up in there.
Everybody wants to get inside her, so we're just going to name the town after her.
I love how there's just like some Guido down there. It's like, hey, I've been looking at this broad, right? I'm checking her out, and I find out it's this guy's wife. And I'm like, all right, I can't bang her. It's this guy's wife. So you know what? I'm going to name a town after her. You know what I mean?
We can all get inside her.
Some real jerk Guido. Yeah, he's grabbing his, he's grabbing at his dick the whole time. Like, let me ask you a question, all right? Like it's one of my uncles.
One of those switchblade combs and fixes his pompadour.
And I am allowed to say anything I want about Italians because my last name is Pietragallo. So when you have that your whole fucking life, you can say anything you want.
Anything about them.
Anything. Yeah, it's amazing. I'm
You're
like
wine and spaghetti eating bastards.
It'd be like if you were Seal. You can say anything you want about black people. You go, I'm the blackest motherfucker alive. I'll say anything I want.
And
That's
burn
the thing.
victims.
Yeah, exactly. And burn victims. Yeah, he can do that. He had lupus, actually.
Is that what it was?
It was lupus.
Well, I'm
Scarring
going
from
with
lupus, the poor guy. But you...
He's a mess.
He is a mess, Seal. Back to Anniston. 1961, some serious controversy happened in Anniston.
Okay.
That's why I was like, they didn't have slavery, but 2 freedom buses, the Freedom Riders, were down there. This was when civil rights, they were trying to get civil rights cooking. If you don't know, this was 61, is right before the Civil Rights Act was passed 2 years before, so it was kind of a... or 64 it was signed, so 3 years before. So this was like these people were protesting and just trying to integrate things because the Supreme Court was making decisions that would say, you can't segregate, and they'd be segregating anyway. Wow. So that people would come in from everywhere else to try to just protest it and whatever, be a pain in the ass to this whole system.
Good.
So they were going down there. This was after the Supreme Court ruled that bus segregation was unconstitutional. So they had there was 2 buses, and one was outside of Anniston, sitting right there. It was an integrated bus to protest the laws, and one of the buses was attacked and firebombed by a mob outside Anniston on Mother's Day, no less.
Wow.
Sunday, May 14th, 1961.
They firebombed buses.
Prior to this, prior to firebombing it, listen to what they did. They broke windows, slashed tires, and beat it with metal pipes and clubs and chains and crowbars. Before the police came to get the bus was forced to stop, and what they did was, this was, they had to protect people from goddamn people coming in and saying that, people should be able to ride the bus together.
Right.
They need to die, right? Obviously, Jesus Christ.
Burn them alive.
Yeah, so they broke the windows and eventually threw firebombs into the bus. And as it burned, they made sure to hold the door shut to make sure nobody could get out, and everybody would burn to death in there.
Good people.
Yeah, and anybody who did get away were, beaten viciously and, beaten within an inch of their life and lynched and things like that.
Great town.
Finally, it was dispersed by the fuel tank exploding and them, backing away from it. So that's got a little.
My God.
Yeah, things got a little touchy there in the 60s down there.
A little dicey, yeah.
A little dicey.
That's I have so much to say and I can't get a fucking thought out.
It's
that whole
ridiculous.
Racist thing that the whole South.
That's extreme too. That's not just sitting around being like, I don't want no black guy dating my daughter.
Right.
That's not that. That's let's get out there and hold people in a bus so they burn to death.
Unbelievable.
At what point does that switch flip? Like,
and
that's what we need to do as a group.
I don't want to make it political, so never mind. But
it's not even political.
My thought that I was going with
ignorance.
was very
it doesn't
political.
matter. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Let's keep it to
this.
It's
just like
let's. Yeah.
People are miserable things. We are monsters.
Oh, we are. When we get together, we're worse.
Yeah.
Now, in 2002, an investigation by 60 Minutes revealed that Anniston is among the most toxic cities in the country.
In terms of like chemicals, or like
in terms
people?
of chemicals,
Okay.
PCBs were produced there. PCBs were produced there from 1929 to 1971.
I know PCBs. Those things are bad news. They never get out of your system.
Yes, the Monsanto Industrial Chemicals Corporation bought it in 1935 and just dumped the shit into the Snow Creek.
Wow.
And that's important.
And it's heavy, and it goes into the bottom of the stream, and then fish eat it, it gets in the fish, and then you eat it.
The plant closed in 71, and it's still one of the most toxic places there. So, I mean, that tells you a lot right there. Now, population of this town, 22,347, which is down a lot. It's gone down over the last century.
The PCBs are killing them.
Well, that's probably it. Honestly, in the last 15 to 20 years, it's had a huge, about 5,000 people have left.
Yeah.
That's probably after a huge expose on television, national television, for an hour saying how horribly toxic your town is. You might go, maybe we'll move 2 towns over. What do you think?
Let's get the hell out of here.
What do you think? Birmingham's only an hour away.
Atlanta's 2 hours away.
There's trees everywhere.
Our car will make it. Let's get the hell out of here.
It's one of those things. So it's scary. So they left.
PCBs, you have to dig when there's a contaminant that's like a foot deep. You have to dig like 10 feet around it to clear out the contaminant because it's such bad shit. That's how horrible PCBs are.
They're not willing to do that. Apparently, they're just going to leave it there.
Well, they'd have to dig the whole town out.
Yeah, true. Female and male's about regular, 52% female, 47 is, it's about normal. 40.6 is the median age. Normal median age is about 37.4. But we're going to get at one of those things where it's a weird, it turns out to be about 40, but there's a shitload of old people here. Okay. It's one of those deals. Like the married population's actually way less than normal, which I would not expect down there. I'd expect everybody to get married off quickly because it's very religious down there, as we'll get into in a minute. But it's only 40% married population, twice the widows, like I said, old people down there, more divorced people than average, which I would not expect down there either. I didn't think you were allowed to do that. Baptists, what are you doing? What the hell's going on here? Lots of Baptists. We'll get into the race of the state or the city here. Race, it's 42% white, which is way lower than the 62% average. 51.8% black, which is way higher than the 12% average. 1.9% Asian, so that's something. That's something. Yeah, not bad. They got somebody in there. 2% Hispanic, way lower than the 16.9% normal there. So that's a deal, a little different.
Super white.
It's white and black.
Oh, yeah.
It's 51% black people.
Yeah.
It's just white and it's black. That's
I
what it is.
That part.
72.2% religious.
72.2.
About 50-50 is the average.
My God.
72. They're religious. 42% Baptist.
But they are fine with divorce.
Boy.
No queers.
Yeah, and firebombs, too.
Yeah.
And firebombs. About 42% Baptist. That's a
goodness.
shitload of Baptists or whatever. That's fine, but it's there's no ceiling on how many you can have, but it's still like that's a
there is no ceiling.
A lot of Baptists, boy. Now 0.1% Jewish.
There's a comfort level, but no ceiling.
Yeah. 0.3% Muslim, which is more than I would expect, honestly.
Yeah.
65% Republican, 33% Democrats in the voting, which is exactly what you would expect. That is exactly on the state average.
Really?
Of 65. Yeah, it's exactly. They're right along with the state.
Hilarious.
Now, the economy down there, not doing so hot.
Really?
Let's just say about 26% of the people make under $15,000 a year, which is not terrific.
But they're loaded with PCBs, so they don't even know it.
They don't even know it. They're just they're a little brain damaged. They're watching Scooby-Doo, and they're happy with that. They're like, I don't remember this episode.
Right.
I saw it when I was 10, and I don't remember
The Globetrotters are in this one.
Oh,
Calm down.
great,
Everybody
cool.
shut up.
Didn't they help Gilligan get off the island? I'm not sure. I'll watch that when it comes on, too. All the incomes under $50,000 a year are more than average.
Okay.
Like there's more people making under $50,000 than normal in every bracket, and there's only about half the average number of people making over $75,000 a year.
Okay.
So there's way more poor people than normal, basically, and way less upper middle class or middle class people. Unemployment rate is about 3% higher than the rest of the country. It's over 8% there. The job growth is negative. So it's not because people are leaving. So you don't get positive growth when people leave. It's just
the
one
people
of those
with
things.
jobs that are leaving.
Absolutely, it's people with jobs. It's people with their PCBs. If they're mobile, they're like, let's get the fuck out of here.
Well, the getting's good.
Yeah, well, before we have cancer. Average household income there is about $31,000, which is well below the $53,500, which is the normal. Jobs down there it's like average in every category. It's within 1% of average. I've never seen it so average. It's 24% is the average for sales and office and that sort of thing, and they're right at 24%. And it's all within a point of everything. So they average of everything when it comes to that. The cost of living, we say 100 being the average.
The zero.
The par.
Yeah.
100 being par, it's 82 overall there.
Okay.
Some things are a little higher, some things are a little lower. Housing is 52.
Okay.
52. Most houses there are worth between about $40,000 about $150,000 a year. And if we've convinced you, $40,000 is there's a lot of houses in that range to 150. I've seen them. They're little houses.
They are houses.
But yeah, some of them are 2-bedroom, 2-bath.
Okay.
No, they're houses. Yeah, they're not like manufactured. No, they're like 200 years old.
Okay.
They're like a 100-year-old shack, basically.
Okay.
A lot of them are, that sort of thing. Now, if we've convinced you that you need to live in Anniston, you want to go check out that big iron furnace down there, we have the Anniston Real Estate Report for you. You can get a 2-bedroom apartment. The average price of that there is about $643, which is about $400 under the average.
Very affordable.
It's reasonable.
Yeah.
3-bedroom, 2-bath house on Hillside Drive, $59,900. 4-bedroom, 3-bath house on Pebble Creek Circle for $164,900.
Sounds lovely.
So and it's a nice house. That house,
it's
a big house. It's a nice house.
Pebble Creek sounds
Creek
fantastic.
Circle sounds very quiet. Sounds nice. Now, things to do in Anniston.
Oh, I want to know.
Things to do.
Because right now, apart from get poisoned and die, there isn't much.
You'll see a common theme here.
Okay.
Fort McClellan is there. Fort McClellan is the Army Training Center base. Fort McClellan is number one. That is a number one thing to do there.
What is that to do?
Go look at it.
Get recruited?
Go look at it and be like, yeah, people trained here. The Anniston Army Depot is number 2. You got to have that. They have old, artillery and shit like that sitting around. And finally, this is what you really got to go to: the Homeland Security Center for Domestic Preparedness.
Wow.
That is one of their top 3 things to do.
So it's all things to go look at. It's basically, let's go look at the military that kicked our ass.
Yeah, let's go and the current one. Well, no, the current one.
It's the current one, but it's the military that kicked our ass.
And let's be scared about everything. Let's go there and figure out, just in case terrorists want to go after rural Alabama, which is the first place they're going to go, I figure.
Right.
You New York City first, then maybe D.C., and then Anniston is third.
That's third.
So get ready, guys. Get down
there. And
there.
also, too, let's go look at the people that we're going to have to fight elite, and we're the reason that, like, those are the people that are looking at the military and then going, now let's go down to the local convenience store or gun store and buy some guns that are not going to match up to what we just looked at.
Yes, and then say I'm protected.
And go be prepared.
Yeah, I'm protected. No, they're not. Yeah, well, for them, their domestic preparedness might be against their own government. They might be thinking, I'm not sure. I don't know how many. I see a bunch of guys running around in gray uniforms down there going, it's not over.
With the Bowie knife.
It ain't over. I'll tell you that right now.
I got me a bayonet.
They think it's over up there, but it ain't over.
We're going to rise again.
Okay, we've made fun of them enough, and let's move on. The crime there, what we're really interested in here, the crime, property crime, burglary, larceny, theft is more than double the average. Way more than double the average.
Okay.
Like almost triple the average.
Yeah.
It's way high. Violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, assault is twice the national average. This place is fucking dangerous. Those PCBs will make you steal shit and murder people. Speaking of murder.
Make you commit every crime.
You bet your ass. Now, speaking of murder, this encompasses all of that. Let's get into our murder this week.
Fantastic.
We start with Fred and Evelyn Blackman. Let's introduce to them. Fred is actually the son. They're wealthy people. Fred is actually the son of an old Alabama congressman. Fred Blackman Sr. He's a junior. Fred Leonard Blackman. He served from 1873 to 1921 in Congress. So he was in there a long time. He was born in Lime Beach, Georgia, moved over there.
Almost 50 years in Congress?
Yeah, he's in Congress forever.
Wow.
He was he was an attorney. He practiced. He ended up also getting reelected when he died in 1921. So
a dead guy got reelected.
No, he was elected and died.
Okay.
He got reelected in November, died in February. So he was finishing out another. Starting another term.
I was just going to say he probably died in office then if he served for 50 years. So that makes sense.
Did. He died on February 8th, 1921. Now,
I wish it was the opposite.
Fred is his son. Fred is born in 1910. He's a young man in 1910. When we catch up with Fred, it is 1986. Fred is 76 years old, Fred Blackman. He is married to Evelyn Kane Blackman, who is 41 years old in 1986, because Fred... 25 money will get you 25 years.
Oh boy!
You never see a 40-year-old woman with just like a poor guy
25-year-old?
with a 76-year-old man who's just on Social Security,
that needs his ass wiped,
who's eating cat food. Like, you don't see that happen often. But the rich guy,
a guy that without her would die and then be eaten by his cat.
And that's not sexist. That's factual. So Evelyn, that's just a fact. Evelyn also, it's like you said, there's not a lot of tall homeless people. It's like, that's a fact. That's just what it is.
Just the way it is.
Evelyn has a daughter, Julie, from a previous marriage. She's 20 years old in 1986. Like I said, they're loaded, this family. They have a lot of money. Julie used to go out with a young man named William Glenn Boyd. Now, he's a 20-year-old shithead, basically, this guy. They went together for about 2 years. We're catching up with this whole situation in March of 1986. They had just broken up in February of 1986 from a 2-year relationship. Boyd, in later years, looks exactly like he's another one. We said last week the woman looked like she's crazy and looks like she'd do what she did. You'd look at this guy and be in fear of him doing exactly what he did. You'd go, I wouldn't want that guy to do that.
Not for nothing, but there are very few successful people with the last name of Boyd. That's a very common fuck-up last name.
It's more looks than name on this one. You can go, you got problems, dude. So Boyd hangs around with another shithead named Robert Milstead. Now, Boyd needs money, because he's an idiot. So he hatches a plan, and he tells Milstead about the plan. On March 24th, 1986, he tells Milstead that he's going to blackmail Mrs. Blackman with the names of men she had slept with while married to the older Mr. Blackman.
Oh, shit.
He said he was then going to sell the names to Mr. Blackman. So he was going to try to double blackmail him and get him on both. So he just tells them he needs him to come with him to set this scam up, is all he does. Doesn't say anything else to Milstead about this.
This is the equivalent of stealing a sex tape and trying to sell it back to
That's
somebody.
exactly what it is. Yeah, the 1986 equivalent. Now, this is like straight as blackmail as you get. Milstead doesn't know the Blackmans at all. He'd met his girlfriend and stuff, but he doesn't know his ex-girlfriend's parents. What the hell, they don't know him. So Julie, at the time, she's living with her mother and Fred. It's on Fairway Drive in Anniston. And so she leaves for school on March 26, 1986. She leaves. Both of them are home. Fred and Evelyn were both at home. She goes to school. She leaves. It must have been sometime right after she left, because it's before 8:40 a.m. Boyd and Milstead come in here. They pull up. They park they park a couple blocks, about a quarter of a mile away. It's several blocks, but it's about a quarter mile away from the Blackmans' home, from Fred and Evelyn's home. Boyd's driving a white 1976 Camaro.
Yeah, he
so
is.
you know he's white trash. You know he's white. She's got REO Speedwagon pouring out of that shit. It's not great.
It's I Can't Drive 55. It's some Sammy Hagar garbage music.
Jesus. They pull up to the house. It's Milstead and Boyd.
Hop out in their jean jackets.
They do, but before they do that, with a big, Judas Priest patch on the back, before they get out with their...
Got another thing coming, people.
Before they get out with their Leonard Skinner patch on their jean jacket, Boyd gives Milstead a .25 caliber gun.
Oh boy!
And tells him to go up to the Blackman's house. He says, hold them until I get there.
Yeah.
So this is his deal. He says the Blackmans aren't going to let Boyd in.
Yeah.
Boyd's like, they're not letting me in. They know me. Julie doesn't like me. They're pissed off at me.
But as
an
accomplice, if somebody throws you a little deuce fizzle and says, run up there and hold him at gunpoint, be like, I thought we were going to blackmail him with sex names.
Yes,
what are we doing now?
These people are idiots.
This
and that's
is the
why
dumbest fucking plan.
Well, it gets worse from here. And this is why what the plan was originally is it's we don't know here.
It's ridiculous. This is already out of control.
It's out of control.
Yeah.
It gets much worse. Milstead puts the gun in his pants.
He's just like, cool, all right.
He does it, knocks on the door. Mr. Blackman here, he comes to the door and says that, he's in his pajamas, but he let Milstead in, and Milstead said he was a friend of Julie. That's how he got in.
Yeah.
And he said he needed to talk to Mrs. Blackman about her daughter's safety. That was how they were going to get to talk to Mrs. Blackman. Okay. That's what Milstead thinks. Like, okay, I'm going to talk to her, then we're going to blackmail her, and then, we're going to move on from there.
Okay.
That's the basic deal. Milstead then goes downstairs in the house to see Mrs. Blackman. He's taken there by Mr. Blackman. Milstead tells Evelyn that Boyd is on a rampage, this was his quote, and he's scared that Boyd is going to hurt Julie. That's what he says. So Milstead and Evelyn then go back upstairs and to talk to Mr. Blackman in this case. And at this point, Boyd comes in the house. Mm-hmm. This is when he bursts in. Boyd has a .22 revolver.
I told you he's fucking crazy. There he is.
Exactly. He bursts in it. That's perfect timing, honestly. Like it was a stage direction. Like now, go. So,
enter stage right.
Go. No, fucking that's your cue. Move. So Boyd, right on cue, runs out there. Oh, shit, okay. Puts a .22 revolver to Evelyn's head. Uh-huh. She tells her husband to call the police. She tells Fred to call the police. And Boyd said, probably not a good thing to do. Why don't you guys sit down? I'll shoot you if you call the police, obviously. That's why I brought a gun, to stop you from doing that. He tells Milstead to hold the gun on him, and then he goes up into the kitchen and rips a pillowcase into pieces.
Okay.
He then ties up Mrs. Blackman, ties up Evelyn, gags her, and blindfolds her.
Uh-huh.
All right. Now, right around this time, at 8:40 a.m., Officer Ken Murphy of the Anniston Police Department testified that he was patrolling the area and saw a white two-door 1976 Chevy Camaro illegally parked near the intersection of the road. Again, this is always a bad parking job. Remember Burlingame, Kansas? Nosy neighbors with the parking. Park 2 miles away and walk, you lazy bastards. Not that I want you to get away with murder, but think for one fucking second here. So he checks the tag number, 11K9970, and it comes back to Mr. Boyd.
Yeah.
So he just, they just were writing him a ticket. That's all they're doing. They don't think that he's doing what he's fucking doing, obviously. That would be your first assumption.
Camaro, he's clearly
he must have bound and gagged a poor woman and have a gun to people's heads. Hey, everybody, just going to break away from the show for 1 second to tell you about another one of our sponsors, Blue Apron.
BlueApron.com.
Oh, we love Blue Apron so much. You get this box that comes to your house. It is it's like a box of gold.
That's the best day at my house.
It's so great. You open this box and you're like, what is it this week? And you pull out the cards and you see the recipes and you're like, look at these meats. Look at these fresh vegetables. It's incredible. First of all, it's fully pre-portioned.
Right.
So none of this waste, none of this garbage. You're not going to stuff yourself. And the cost on it's actually really, really good. Less than $10 per person per meal. Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients to make delicious home-cooked meals, guys. Home-cooked. They send everything, every little spice. Do you have saffron in your house? I bet not. But if the recipe calls for saffron, there will be a little tiny baggie of saffron.
Do you have a little bit of honey? Just enough honey?
Just enough? I doubt you do. It's the best. So you can customize your recipes each week based on your preferences. Each meal comes with a step-by-step, easy-to-follow recipe card. Some incredibly delicious featured upcoming meals include warm smoked trout and asparagus salad with fingerling potatoes and garlic croutons. I would eat that.
Sounds delicious.
That sounds so delicious. I want to make that. Peach honey glazed chicken with mashed sweet potatoes, collard greens, and Thai basil. I am into this. So much good stuff. My goodness, check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/small. You will love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so don't wait. That's blueapron.com/small. Blue Apron, a better way to cook.
And now back to the show.
At this point, Boyd goes into the kitchen and pretends to dial a number and talk on the phone. He says loudly into the phone, quote, "We're in here and everything is going okay. If I call you back and let the phone ring once, kill Julie and get out." So he's pretending that he's got the daughter hostage somewhere. That's his game here. Boyd then tells Mr. Blackman here, he tells Fred that Julie is a hostage and that he needs $75,000 from him for Julie not to be harmed.
Okay.
So
Boyd said that?
Boyd tells Mr. Blackman this.
Okay. Milstead should be going like, dude, we need to talk in another room. We got to chat.
I think he's like, we're getting $75,000. Like, that's what these guys are not thinking straight. So he says he doesn't have that much money, Mr. Blackman. He says he has to get the money because it's tied up in stocks, and he's a wealthy guy. He's got things. He's got it's tied up. He says that he agreed. So at this point, Boyd says, "Well, I'll tell you what, I'll take $5,000 for now. So give me $5,000 for now, okay? Just give me $5,000." Yeah. They go upstairs. Mr. Blackman puts clothes on because he's in his pajamas, and then they take him to the bank. Okay, now the operations officer at the bank, at the First Alabama Bank, testifies that she knew Fred. She saw Fred Blackman several times a week. He pulled up in the drive-in, and she said a white, slender male with long, dark hair was with him, and he was acting super weird. He presents the check of $5,000, and he wasn't like looking at her. Yeah. And she said, "Hey, Fred, this is Linda. How you doing?" And he just looked ahead and nodded. He didn't do anything. So she was like, "That's weird." Yeah. When she cashes it, gives him his $100. She's like, "Man, maybe he's having a bad day. Yeah. What am I going to do? Go out there and berate a bank customer for not being polite enough for me? Like, whatever." So, it was one of those things. But she sees Boyd right in the car, and she can identify who he is. He's been spotted now. It's not, that's right there. He's already fucked up 5 times. Yeah, his car's there. It's piling up the fuck-ups. So they get back to the house. They have the money, $100 bills. They give, by the way, Boyd gives Milstead half this money. Right away. Which is shocking. Not right away, but later. Okay. But that's still that he did. He tells him, then Boyd tells Milstead, he says, "We're going to take the Blackmans to a secluded spot, tie them up, and leave them. So that way I can get out of the state." It's like, they know who I am. Yeah. They don't know you, but they know who I am. And, they're going to say, "Hey, this is a problem for me. It was this asshole." You know what I mean? So I got to go. So they do that.
Milstead already, though, is probably going, "Oh, so we're going to kill him?" Because everything else you've said so far has escalated to something worse. Right.
Yeah. So before they leave the house, Boyd takes $1,500 out of Mr. Blackman's wallet. Yeah. Steals that. He had $1,500 in his wallet. Not
so
bad.
Now he's got $6,500.
Yeah, and $2,500, and so he's got $4,000.
Right.
So,
okay, I see what you're saying.
And he also takes one of Evelyn, Mrs. Blackman's gold necklaces. Okay. Also takes that, steals it, and he's going to hawk it later or whatever. So they all leave in Mr. Blackman's black Cadillac Eldorado, which sounds like what a 76-year-old wealthy guy would drive.
You mean El Dorado?
Oh, yeah, sorry, Illinois, and El Dorado. Thank you, Jimmy. Sorry. So anyway,
so they leave in a big caddy.
He also, Boyd, on the way out, grabbed 2 of the phones out of the house because he said he knew they were tapped, which I don't know why leaving them there would be bad then. Right. I don't understand how that would help. Either way. So Milstead's driving. Mr. Blackman's in the front. The other 2, Boyd and Mrs. Blackman, are in the back. Yeah. They drive across the Coosa River and drive down a dirt road, which is scary if you're tied up with a couple of psychopaths. Boyd and Milstead and Mrs. Blackman get out of the car. They leave Mr. Blackman in the car. They walk her to a clearing behind a brush pile. They tell her to sit down. They tell Evelyn to sit down. Okay. He ties her hands and feet. She's gagged and blindfolded. They talk to her for a minute, and then after that, Boyd decides he's going to hit her in the head with a stick. So he hits her a few times with a big stick in the head and the forehead. She starts screaming.
He's like, "Oh, you're supposed to die."
Yeah. Boyd tries to choke her with a cloth then because she's screaming. So then Boyd takes out his .22 and muffled over the cloth and shoots Mrs. Blackman.
I see him in Me, Myself, and Irene when Jim Carrey's like, he fires 3 rounds into the cow and then he gets on the ground, chokes it.
Yeah.
He's just like, "Oh, you didn't die from the stick. Now I have to choke you."
Except not funny at all. That's the only difference.
Right. So, not bumbling. So he did in reverse order, though.
He's trying to choke her. He shoots her. She's still not dying. So he calls to Milstead to shoot her with the .25 caliber gun. Yeah. So he shoots her in the back of the head, and they cover up her body and leave her there.
Goodness gracious.
They head back to the car. Now, if you're Mr. Blackman, you're in the car. They left with your wife. You hear a gunshot. They're walking back.
You hear several gunshots.
Now they're coming back without her.
Right.
You're thinking shit has gone bad here. Milstead and and Boyd then take Mr. Blackman back across the river, back into Calhoun County. They park on a dirt road. They tell Boyd tells Mr. Blackman to get out of the car. When he gets out of the car, they hit him on the head with a stick.
They know that doesn't work.
When they hit him, they also smash the taillight on his car and leave little pieces of plastic all around there. So that's going to come
a trail everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. So they then take a piece of cloth and they start to choke Mr. Blackman. They tried this once. When you choke people, they struggle.
Right.
So Mr. Blackman starts to struggle and grabs a stick and stabs Boyd with the stick.
Nice.
So this guy's fighting. He's 76, and he's like, "You're not strangling me in the woods. I will stab your ass. I don't care. I grew up.
My dad was a congressman
Alabama.
for 50 years.
God damn it! In Alabama, you know what he did? Bad things.
Yeah.
I have no soul. So no, I'm just kidding. So anyway, Boyd then takes out the .25 and puts it to Mr. Blackman's throat, which Mr. Blackman begs and tells him, "Please don't shoot me. I'll get you $50,000."
Okay.
It's like, "I can get you $50,000." And Boyd told him it was too late, and he shot him in the chest and the neck. And they then rolled his body up and put it in the trunk of his own car. They then drove the car to a Piggly Wiggly, which is a grocery store if you're not from the southern part of America. They drive him to the Piggly Wiggly and leave it parked there.
Okay.
They then go to Milstead's father's house. They wash up, they change clothes, and then they went back that night again to pick up the car. They drive it to a boat ramp on the Coosa River, and they roll the windows down on the car and roll it into the river and just let it sink. That's their
plan?
That's their plan. Let it sink. And they have the woman, though. They have Evelyn out in the woods still covered up. So this is the other thing, too. They did all this. They went back home. At some point, Julie stopped by Boyd's house to pick up some tapes of hers that he had.
Oh.
So he saw her during the day. And it was like...
And just let it be.
Let it be. Here's your tapes. Yeah, have a good one.
There they are.
So anyway, they go back that night. They throw the 2 pistols in a creek.
Yeah.
The next morning, Milstead goes and gets some 55-gallon barrels because they have a job to do now. Boyd and Milstead go back to the woods where they left Mrs. Blackman. They put her in one of the barrels with rocks and weigh it down and rolled it into the river, but they couldn't quite get her in there, so they had to really break her up with an axe. They broke her back and all sorts of shit with an axe to stuff her in there, which one thing I've learned from this show, bodies don't fit in barrels.
They don't.
Just stop trying.
Right.
They don't fucking fit in there. No. And if they do fit, you have to break them apart and stuff them in there, and then they're going to float
messy.
back up.
Right.
It's not going to work.
No.
Just stop trying to fucking do that. We know that from episode, I think, 5.
Yeah.
And
then if you put concrete in it, then you can't move it.
Then you can't move it. That weighs 800 pounds, and then what are you going to do? So, yeah, not smart here.
Right.
So they had to break her up because she was too stiff, too. And so they had to basically...
This is a motherfucker.
They kind of had to cut her in half. They then throw her... They put some soft cement, some rocks in there. They cut some holes in the barrel with an axe, too. And they rolled the barrel into the river and sank it.
Okay.
So, yeah. Boyd tells Milstead, if anybody asks, the police ask, tell them a story, tell them it was the mafia. And then he heard that they were
How do you know that?
They were all in with the mafia and all that sort of thing.
Okay.
So it's unbelievable. Like that's their like, we'll just tell them it was the mafia. Everyone will buy that.
At what point does Milstead say, is it as he's pushing the car, or is it when he's rolling the drum when he goes, what happened to just a list of people that she fucked? Like, what is this?
Where is that?
How did we get to this?
I do have money in my pocket, though, so... unreal. So Milstead then goes and talks to a friend of his, a woman named Sharon Johnson, who is going out with Boyd. Milstead tells her that he and Boyd kidnapped the Blackmans and killed them.
Oh, God.
So now he's telling other people. So they're making every mistake possible here. Sharon would later testify also in this whole thing. And there's also a guy named Kenny Surratt. Now, Kenny Surratt goes to talk to Boyd the next day because Boyd had given him a bad check to pay back a debt, so he's going to get the money from him. He shows up. He said that he gets there. Surratt gets to Boyd's. Boyd comes out of the bathroom, and Boyd tells him, Kenny, I didn't realize how cold-blooded I was. And he kind of tells him about the whole thing. He said, yeah. He tells him that, he did this thing. And
what an idiot.
He doesn't even believe him. So
really?
He's like, I don't even think he's telling the truth, whatever. But then there was a bunch of money on the table, and he said he got the money from Boyd said he got the money from Mr. Blackman, and here's the money I owe you, and have a good one, buddy. And he was like, okay, this is super weird. Very strange.
He just got finished using the bathroom. He comes out after taking a piss, and he goes, hey, how you doing, Kenny? Good to see you.
He goes,
Did you know how cold-blooded I am?
Amazing.
Let me tell you
I'm
how
shocked
amazing.
about it.
I can't believe this.
I am cold-blooded. So
You're damn right you are, sir. You're a real asshole.
Yeah, next day, Surratt goes with Boyd to the barber shop, and he's making jokes. Boyd's making jokes about the couple being at the bottom of a river.
Wow.
And he's like, hey, they could be at the bottom of a river by now. Isn't that funny? And the Surratt guy's like, I don't want to hear that shit. Like, I don't want to know about this. Don't tell me. I don't want dead people's money.
How do you
I don't know.
to that? Like, that's just what your conversation is all day now?
Yeah, he's just bragging. He's an idiot, this fucking guy. So March 28th, 1986, this is 2 days after they've disappeared, Julie Greenwood, the daughter, and her father file a missing persons report because they still haven't come home yet, and they have no idea where they are. They're just gone. Now on April 3rd, the police, through this whole thing, they're trying to put shit together. Obviously, they're doing their job and they're following any leads, and there are a lot of leads because there's a lot of physical evidence. People have seen these two idiots with them. The evidence is...
There's a lot of clues at minimum.
Yeah, of at least who you're going to talk to.
Right.
You know what I mean? So on April 3rd, 1986, Boyd is parking his car in front of a house on Mulberry Street in Anniston, Alabama, when police arrest him for kidnapping in the first degree.
Good.
Okay, they
That's
take him into custody. They impound his vehicle. The vehicle was taken to the police department impound area. They locked the fence and all that. So, they have to put that in the reports to know that nobody tampered with it or anything like
Camaro.
that. The Camaro, the 76 Camaro, the REO Speedwagon Mobile.
The long one.
So they read him his Miranda rights, and he decides he wants to give a statement.
Really?
He's going to give a full statement. He gives about 4 of them, all of them admitting some form of whatever, some form of either I shot this one and Milstead shot this one, or Milstead shot this one, or he shot both, or they vary. Milstead gives 5 versions of the story.
Really?
5 different versions varying from... They each shot one of them to Boyd just went crazy and did everything on his own. Those are the varying stories.
Okay.
But he's really he's willing to put Boyd in.
Yeah.
Hard.
But he's also implicating himself.
He's implicating himself, but he's saying, "Hey, I'll fucking throw that guy. I don't give a shit about him. Fuck that guy." Yeah, exactly. So now, Mr. Blackman...
And he's a liar, too. He told me we were going to do one thing, and then we get there and do another.
Yeah.
None of it adds up. I'll tell you all the stories.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly
him.
what it is. So the Milstead told them where the car was in the river. So they pull Mr. Blackman's car out of the river. They compare pieces of taillight found on the dirt road to the missing portion of the taillight, and it fit perfectly.
Sure.
They go to Milstead's house, and they find a blue metal barrel because he bought 2. Like, how are you going to put them in 2? and an axe they find in the backyard. Now, the next morning, April 7th, or 2 days later, they conducted a search of Boyd's vehicle. Okay, and in Boyd's vehicle, they find a piece of white and yellow entwined cloth on the front floorboard of the car, which matches the one end is knotted and there's hair in it. And guess whose hair that matches?
Yeah.
A black mesh shirt, a pair of blue underwear, a black jacket, and another piece of cloth were found in the right floorboard. Another one, this one used as a gag. They also found a roll of gauze in the console of the car with a gold necklace inside an envelope. The necklace belongs to Mrs. Blackman. It's the one he stole at the house. He was keeping that as a little souvenir or something, the hock later, whatever. Also, 2 spent .22 caliber shells were found on the dashboard. So every bit of evidence you could possibly leave to have a trail of breadcrumbs is what this fucking idiot did. Now, Boyd accompanies police to, they take him out to show them to the creek to where the guns have been discarded on April 11th.
Sure.
Also, they have to go find Mrs. Blackman because they still have to pull her out of a goddamn barrel from a fucking river because this poor woman's been cut in half and stuffed in a river. 3 gunshot wounds were in Mr. Blackman's shirt. 3 holes were in the shirt. 2 gunshot wounds were found on his body. One was in the neck and passed through the chest cavity, and the other one went in the left side of the chest and passed through the heart. So they recovered both they also recovered both the bullets. They said they were very close range, and also they found some minor blunt force injury consistent with being hit in the head with a goddamn stick. Now, Mrs. Blackman, there was a gag in her mouth, a piece of cloth tied around her ankles, 3 gunshot wounds for her, 1 to the head and 2 others. 1 to the right side of the neck and 1 in the back. They never found any of the bullets for that one. And she had a chop wound in her lower back where they chopped her with an axe to make her fit in a goddamn thing, in a barrel. Boyd is charged with 8 counts, including kidnapping and capital murder, which means...
Death penalty.
That is death penalty. Now,
and this is the South. That's one thing that I do like about the South. They don't fuck around.
Milstead makes a deal. He makes a deal to testify in order for in exchange for life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Okay.
So fine, fuck you, Milstead. You go sit in there forever. Surratt, his friend, the Surratt guy that we discussed before,
the barbershop guy, right?
And Sharon Johnson both testify. Johnson testifies for the defense.
Really?
She testifies for Boyd. She says that Milstead came over and said that Milstead told her that he shot both of them.
Okay.
So she's like, he's lying.
Yeah, but
now,
she's sleeping with Boyd.
She's sleeping with Boyd, and who knows if Milstead did that to brag, because these guys are jackasses, and they think that it's a positive if they're shooting people. Like, people will be impressed with that shit, right? Yeah, it's great. Now, they had everybody, forensic people, testify that the soil samples given were... contained her blood and clothing stains, clothing and blood stains there, matched stains in the car, matched everything, matches everything.
In this dirt that's not PCB is blood.
Yeah.
And it's hers.
No, absolutely. They did tool mark checks, like comparisons with the axe and the. I mean, it's everything. It's a forensic slam dunk on every level. It's a circumstantial slam dunk. It's everything that could possibly put someone in jail. They admitted it. Yeah. This is one of those cases where you're like, yes, death penalty. There's no chance they didn't do it. Everyone knows they did it. Everything matches up, and they admitted to it. Let's just say that they fucking did it. Let's just kill them now.
Let's warm up the generator for that chair.
Let's do it, man. Let's get the iron furnace cooking. Let's go. God damn it.
Let's throw them in that.
Hey, fuck it. They got it. Let's fire that bad boy up.
There aren't any cast iron pipes anymore.
No.
We're using fucking
plastic.
PVC
That's
now.
That's right, man. So Boyd is shocker. They go to the jury, and the jury actually had there were some things with the jury. A juror shouted out some information that he read in the paper at one point, so that was some controversy there. So they didn't know whether they were going to have a mistrial.
Heard they were going to blackmail
or whatever. Yeah, I heard this, and I heard that this one was there. I heard the mafia was involved, or whatever the fuck it was. So Boyd is found guilty on all counts.
All right,
no shocker there. I mean, really, you'd have I don't know what the fuck kind of jury would find him not guilty. I'm not sure.
You can find one down there, I think.
It'd be tough, man. I think the OJ jury would have convicted him if it was this. He said he did it. He said he did it. And other people saw him with. Oh boy, yeah, that doesn't sound good.
There's blood all over his truck.
Oh man, and on him, and it all met. Oh boy, oh my. So
how many of those shoes are there?
Oh boy. Now, for sentencing, the same judge who provides over Boyd's trial. Here's the sentencing. This is April 9th, 1987. This is right after the jury thing. Now, the defense tries to present mitigating evidence. His attorney, Cindy Pierce, prepares a life history of Boyd's to read to the jury to get sympathy.
I can't imagine that's a good thing.
Well, they're trying to. It's mitigating factors. Okay. Look at how fucked up it's not his fault.
Okay.
He's only 20, and look at his life.
But
so
I can't
far.
imagine those things are going to do him any favors.
No, I mean a lot of times they do. They'll mitigate, but when you something like this, you're beyond that shit. This wasn't an accident. They said that his parents divorced when he was 2. His father went to prison and tried to escape, and everybody found out, and it was bad publicity for the family.
That's why he killed people.
That's why. His younger sister was physically and mentally challenged, and when she became older, she became very violent. They used to have to physically restrain her, put her in restraints. He grew up very poor. His friend burned down the family's trailer at one point. He was embarrassed by that his family was poor. So what? You don't kill people. Lots of people are embarrassed your family's goddamn poor.
Apart from Blackman and his family raped me my entire life.
Yes, constantly.
Right.
Constantly.
And he was about to do it again, so he had to kill everybody. That's the only. There's nothing else.
Nothing. So he had difficulties in school. He dropped out at 16. They said his mother remarried, and he had to an abusive guy who had serious problems, and he beat him, and he was very strict. And Boyd's grandfather died. It was so hard for him to get past that. It's like everybody's
He grew up like everybody.
Died.
He grew up like me. He grew up like you. He grew up like everybody else.
That's the thing. He said Boyd moved to New Mexico when he was 16.
Now I get it.
To work. Now that makes sense. But he said he was too immature to take advantage of it, and he came back to Alabama. I don't see how these are mitigating factors, but these are the things. Said he had a romantic relationship. But Evelyn Blackman wouldn't let. She forbade him from seeing her or her from seeing him because he was white trash. And they were like, look, we're rich. Your stepfather's a congressman. Dad was a congressman. Let's not get fucking whatever. Said that all his grandparents were alcoholics. They're just this whole big... whatever, this whole big horseshit.
Bullshit.
Yeah, he served 6 months in jail for burglary when he was 17, and that was a problem. All these things seem like reasons why we don't need this fucking guy around. When you add it, what that added up to, it seems like we don't need this goddamn guy. I guess his stepfather, known as a brutal guy by everybody, would beat the shit out of his disabled sister and lock her in a room for days at a time. Like, he came from a shit environment, but you still don't get to tie people up and shoot them and rob them and push them in a river. I don't give a shit what you grew up in. So April 1987 is sentencing. We're going to the sentencing here.
Yeah.
They come out, and Boyd is sentenced to death by lethal injection. See you later, Boyd.
Fantastic.
So they sentenced him to death.
They got it right.
They did. Lots of appeals, obviously, right away. He says that, his lawyer wasn't any good. Was right away that, counsel, not good enough for the counsel. Said there was the search of his vehicle while it was impounded was warrantless. Really? Even though they said that, it was kind of, they said they have to search it for inventory when they take it in anyway, so it doesn't matter.
It was inconsequential to the case anyway. All they really need is that cop saw that car at the fucking scene. That's it.
The jury at one point asked a distinction between murder and capital murder, and I guess they're saying the judge's explanation wasn't good enough for him, so they think that's it. They sentenced you to die. That's what they knew. They said capital murder is dead murder.
That's the one.
That's the one there.
Dead murder.
So that gets dismissed. 1997, he has another appeals process, and they dismiss it. They were saying ineffective assistance of counsel in that one. They said, go fuck yourself. On December 18th, 1998, dismissed that. October of 2000, he started with a federal petition for habeas corpus. He moves to the district court. It's a whole thing. Every time he's just going from court to court, as they do in death penalty cases, saying the same thing. My lawyer sucked. This happened. That happened.
Doesn't matter.
That all goes. His execution date is set. Actually, after a bunch of these appeals in the late 90s and early 2000s are exhausted, his execution is set for March 31st, 2011.
Okay.
Now, before that, he has one final appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court, saying the judge had not followed Alabama Supreme Court and U.S. Supreme Court rules in overriding the jury's recommendation for a life sentence, which is shaky anyway. The attorney claimed that Boyd had ineffective assistance of counsel and all that, and please don't execute him, because this is in March of 2011, and the Supreme Court says, no, it's all right. We'll throw him right in the furnace. Toss him on in there.
Somebody sharpen the needle.
They're sharpening the needle. There's a guy on a big wheel right now. So Boyd, in the week before, he is moved to the death holding cell near the execution room. He had 12 visitors before that, including his brother, his sister-in-law, a couple nephews, his sister, that sort of thing. Family, spiritual advisor, 2 ministers, and his attorney. They give him a final meal.
Yes.
His final meal is chicken,
Yeah.
French fries, applesauce, a tomato, just a regular tomato, and an orange juice. And also that day, he got a meatball sandwich, a Philly cheesesteak sandwich, a V8 splash drink, and coffee from the vending machine.
Okay. He had 2, say those sandwiches, a meatball sandwich and then something else?
And a Philly cheesesteak sandwich.
He ate both of those before dinner?
Apparently, you get anything you want the whole day down there.
I feel like the meatball sandwich was just like his cellmate bent over and tucked his balls between his legs.
That's
that's the meatball sandwich he got.
That's the thing. Yeah, I think you might be right. Now, his final words, they ask him, do you have any final words, a final statement? His final words are no.
No.
Nothing. That's all he said.
Nothing.
He is declared dead at 6:23 p.m. by lethal injection at the Holman Prison in Atmore. He had 3 witnesses on his side, his attorney and the 2 ministers, and none of his family even came on. You don't want to watch the guy die, probably. No. 9 people of the victims' families included for the prosecution, whatever, the victims'
pool
viewing area. So they did that. Now Fred and Evelyn are buried in Hillside Cemetery in Anniston together, and it's very, very goddamn sad.
Terrible. The
whole mess of that thing. So Boyd, if you look at Boyd, he looks exactly like you would think he would look.
He used to.
The picture of him, he looks like he's like Uncle Fester's nephew.
Really?
Is what he looks like.
Jesus.
It's frightening looking, and you're like, God, that
like
guy.
Pugsley?
No,
way worse.
No, like one that really got his genes.
Was he heavy?
One that got his genes. Later on, he was heavy. He wasn't then. He was 20 years old.
Yeah, he was tall and had long hair. And
toward the end, he was heavy though. He was a bald, big, fat, pale, heavy son of a bitch. Sweaty, dying asshole.
Yeah.
And
then he died.
Tons of murder. And then he died.
And
so happy days. Yay. Dead.
Take that.
So that is Anniston, Alabama. And that is the poor story of the poor Blackmans and poor Yeah, the poor Blackmans, poor Julie Greenwood, and these son of a bitches, Milstead and Boyd. But they're dead, so fuck it. One of them's dead. The other one's locked up in Alabama for the rest of his life, which sounds horrible. Imagine how hot and sticky it is in that jail down there. Oof.
You can't leave.
Man, hot, sticky, awful, terrible. So that is our story for this
sex
week.
Is the worst prison sex.
Oh God, Jesus! It's all sticky.
Ugh.
All sticky and gross.
Beginning to end, like not just at the end.
Okay, that's grosser than the murder. I think this is grosser than the murder. We got to move on from that. That's not going to work. So
hell yeah.
Okay, if you like that story, please get on iTunes. Give us 5 stars. Like we said, it helps immensely. If you want to do a little more, you can go on patreon.com/crimeinsports or PayPal, crimeinsports@gmail.com on there. You can follow us at facebook.com/smalltownpod, and we are at MurderSmall on Twitter.
We are.
And you can do that, and you can be like one of these awesomely cool people that helped us out this week.
This week
Jimmy, let it fly.
Was unbelievable. The amount of people that are supporting us is really overwhelming. But strap in, because here is a laundry list of people. Carol Chan. Dylan Field snaps me all the time. He's a funny kid, so thanks, Dylan. Sarah Spalding. Jacqueline Howard, thank you very much. I missed your name a couple weeks ago, so thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that, Jacqueline. We do appreciate the donation a ton, so thank you. We're sorry.
Jamie Singh, Matt Miller, he said he's long overdue, but he's in now. And it's never long overdue. It's never overdue. Whenever you get in, it's right on time.
We just appreciate even the thought that you want to makes us excessively happy. So
Rachel Guffey, Bobby Bryan, Eric Bingham. He's a service member in Texas. Thank you for your service, and thanks for your donation. You're a hero, like a legit hero. Robert Sand, Benjamin Thomas Sutton, Leslie. Damn, I wrote her name wrong. Is it Booth? I hope it's Booth, and I didn't just ruin this.
What
Leslie
are you
Booth.
doing, Jimmy?
James
Sorry,
Poland.
Leslie.
His friend was in middle school with him, and he has a story for our Crime and Sports show, and I'll tell you about it later. But thanks, James. Thank you. Chelsea Stewart, Alex Nutty. I think it's Nutty. Gnutti. Ganuti. It's got to be Nutty, right?
Yeah, but Ganuti sounds super fun.
It does.
I really want. Well, yeah, I want her name to be Ganuti.
Yeah.
Hey, Ganoots.
Okay, Ganoots.
That's what they'd call you back home.
Maybe it's a dude. It's Alex.
Ex-Ganoots. Hey, Ganoots, get over here for a minute. Cavacola, what do you want?
And Karen Favreau, I hope that's John Favreau's wife. I really hope that is. Michelle Fowler, Vanessa LaFoyle, I told you about her. Jody Hightower, Deb, Tito Ray, Allison Davis, Lofton or Loughton, Melmoth, Helen Colburn, Shelby Gibbs. And then flip over, because we have a lot.
You got a list there, Jimmy.
Kat in Rochester,
awesome.
you
Jesus
can eat
Christ,
shit.
thank you.
She fucks with me all the time. Kat in Rochester, she's a monster. But thank you, Kat. Robert Rodriguez, he's a paramedic. What's that? Filmmaker, yeah.
Filmmaker?
He's a paramedic in Surprise, and he has a ton of people listening. So thanks, Robert.
Man.
Appreciate
that.
Rob, you're a good dude. Rose Perry, Marielle Teatreau.
Teatro?
Tetreau. Tetreau, right?
Tataru.
No, it's Marielle Teatreau.
I don't fucking know. I don't have the list. I can't see it. You're spelling it. I'm trying to hear it. Yeah.
Megan Rose Donovan, Jay Thompson in the UK, Buffy in Louisiana, Lexi Nance's boyfriend Jake McNamara is having a golden birthday. Whatever the fuck that means. He's 22 on the 20th.
She's going to pee on him?
I think so.
What does that mean?
Happy birthday, Jake.
Happy birthday. Put some rubber down on the sheets there. Lay down a tarp and have at it, guys.
He's
I don't know what to tell you.
on the 22nd of June. Happy birthday. Your girlfriend gives a shit. Yeah. Jesse Rose and Drew Fikes have the Never Have a Bad Day tees on Facebook. Thank you both.
Love them. Thanks, guys.
And I'll be at the Tempe Improv with Eliza Schlesinger June 23rd and 24th, so come out and see us. And I am
that.
At Whisman Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. WHISMAN. I'm positive that I suck.
Thank you. Good. And yes. At reading maybe, but other than that, you're fine. Other than that, you're fine.
No. I can read, just not my own fucking writing.
That's the hardest of all to read. Thank you guys so much. I am at Jimmy P is funny. You can find me all over. Try to get real adventurous. Spell my last name. Just cut and paste it, guys. It's from the show description. Super easy. You can find me that way on social media. Best way to do it. Don't be a hero. Seriously, it's bad.
There's no Purple Heart in this for you.
No, my last name is the reason why I'm allowed to make fun unmercifully of anything Italian.
Anybody
so
that sucks down spaghetti, James can.
I'll pick on you, goddammit. That's right. And I'll do it because I want to pick on something and somebody, and that's all I'm allowed to pick on. So, white people get mad when we pick on them. It's like, Italians will never get mad if another Italian picks on him. They'll be like, he's got a good point. He's got a point. I like capicola. I got to be honest with you. This guy.
Yeah, prosciutto, it's delicious.
I got to tell you, he knows what he's talking about, this guy. At first, I was like, what's he saying? And then I'm like, he's got a point. He's got a fucking point. Not for nothing. He's got a fucking point. But, awesome. Guys, thank you so much for listening. As always, we're never going to give up. We're coming back at you, as always. We'll see you next week, guys. It's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country, who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.